The guy told me that, you know, here in Thailand, we are so sensitive when it comes to black people. So you should go and buy the strongest perfumes so that you don't smell that greasy way black people smell. So I'm like, okay, so this is going to be my boss that has such a bad mindset about black people. He has a mindset that blacks are dirty, that are smelly. So what if I make any mistake? Is he going to address me like a teacher or like a black guy that has made a mistake? And actually, I lost interest in Thailand that someday. Racial discrimination is a very sensitive topic that makes a lot of people uncomfortable discussing it. I'm going to talk about this thing in the best way that I can. By the way, I'm not just going to discuss discrimination against black people or racism against the black people. I'm going to discuss overall racial discrimination. While discussing this topic, I want to use my personal experiences, and I'm going to use the 3 countries as reference. I'm going to use Vietnam, China, and Thailand. Not just because a lot of foreigners travel to these countries, many black people and Asians travel to these countries, but also because I've traveled to these territories and have been there for some time. In 2019, I went to Hong Kong. I traveled to Hong Kong for a simple holiday. When I reached at the airport in Hong Kong, I saw something that bothered my mind. Up now, it really bothered my senses. Hong Kong is a Chinese territory, of course you know that. But when I reached here, there was a desk, a place where they took almost, not all, but almost all people that belonged to the Asian and black race. The big percentage of them were deported. If you were not coming from China or Hong Kong or their friendly territories, you're coming from Vietnam, from Cambodia, Laos, they questioned you so much. There was a special desk to handle those 2 races. I didn't see any white person being questioned in that way. Most of the people that I saw on that desk were Asians and blacks. And I also among those people that were questioned down there. So this looks so systematic. It's not about your ability to spend enough money. It's not just about your ability to travel out of the country before your visa has expired. But it was undermining or discriminating against these races, looking at them like they can't travel, like they can't come for business, like they're going to be here, they're going to stay here and they won't go out. Now, while leaving Hong Kong, traveling back to Vietnam, I got another shock. There was this Chinese group traveling, I think, around Asia. It was a very big group of people. So we were on a plane coming to Vietnam, and they were supposed to sit on the same seats nearing my seat. But these people kept standing in the plane to see if there is going to be empty seats so that they can use different seats rather than sitting next to a black person. Actually, I think I was the only black person on the plane. Not just thinking, I was the only black person on the plane. And there were empty seats, of course. And these people refused to sit next to me. They refused to sit near me. These Chinese people went and used the other seats that were not on their tickets. They left the seats for me. I was in Thailand for 3 weeks. Entering the country was somehow smooth. But there's this guy that picked us, me and one Indian guy and some other black guys that he was picking randomly. You know that way of teasing and bullying people just because of your color, just because of your race and what. So this guy left me there for almost an hour. He stood somewhere, he looked at me with the Indian guy there and other black guys there. He came back, he looked at us, he went. He had my passport, of course, my return ticket, my hotel booking and everything that showed that I'm not of any harm to the country, and of course I'll be exiting the country very soon. And of course I exited after 3 weeks. My visa was a 3-month visa. I exited after 3 weeks. One lady came that was a very good lady. She asked him, why is this guy still here? He had everything on what? So the lady took me. The lady worked on me. She let me in. The first shock that I got in Thailand, I tried to buy food in a certain restaurant just next to my hotel, and they said no. Without any reason. The people at the entrance said no. Fast forward, I want to tell you some of the things that I found in Thailand. Finding a job as a black person in Thailand is hard. Finding a job as an Asian in Thailand is so hard. If you're not Thai, you should be highly qualified if you're Asian. Here comes a time when we had to travel. I entered a bus with one of my other black friends, and all the people in the bus stood up Listen, these guys stood up. They refused to sit in their seats because two black people are there. Now, I'm like, okay, maybe there's a problem. So when we exited, this guy had been in Thailand like for over 5 years. So I asked him, what happened? He said, no, that's how it is here. These people don't want to sit with black people. There is other trucks. They are like taxis in Thailand. I'm forgetting the name that they use. They're like trucks, but they put seats inside there. So you come and enter and sit. They are, I think, the cheapest transport mode in Thailand. So I was with another friend, and we were going somewhere, I think to a restaurant or something. So when we boarded, this guy, my friend, he refused to sit. So he was holding a pipe up on the truck. Now me, I went and sat. Man, when I sat, because it was almost empty when I entered, the rest of the people that entered refused to sit. They just stood. And some of them refused to enter when they saw two black people on the truck. Here came another experience when I had to find a job as an English teacher in Thailand. Okay, I found this guy. He told me he had even a Ghanaian teacher previously that had just left, and he had a Nigerian teacher too. So he told me he wanted me to come and work. During the interview, he liked my qualifications, he liked my videos and whatever. This guy told me something that made me not to work for him, even while he was giving me a good offer. The guy told me that, here in Thailand, we are so sensitive when it comes to black people. So you should go and buy the strongest perfumes so that you don't smell that greasy way black people smell. So I'm like, okay, so this is going to be my boss that has such a bad mindset about black people. He has a mindset that blacks are dirty, that are smelly. So what if I make any mistake? Is he going to address me like a teacher or like a black guy that has made a mistake? And actually, I lost interest in Thailand that someday. I got several interviews, but I declined some. I declined jobs. And that's when I left Thailand and came to Vietnam, where I'm working right now. In Vietnam, I haven't gotten so many bad experiences. And actually, I haven't gotten worse experiences in Vietnam. It's not just because I'm in Vietnam, but I'm a very complicated person. Like living with me and settling down with people, like accepting to settle with people means these people are good. The first day when I came to Vietnam, actually I came to Vietnam as an expat. My boss had me online, and then she paid for everything for my travel to Vietnam. So when I came to Vietnam, everything was smooth. Plane, boarding the plane, traveling with Vietnamese in the plane. People even talked to me. Reaching at the airport, they didn't discriminate against me. They spoke to me in English. Everything was smooth. Like they worked on my visa on arrival. They gave me the visa in 30 minutes or so, and everything was okay. When I reached the town where I was supposed to teach, here came a man, very tall man. He was taller than me. This guy was working in the market. So we were standing outside the market with my boss. She was buying some vegetables to go and take me to where I was supposed to sleep, and she was going to proceed to her family. This guy started rubbing my arm, to see if black will get out, we got off or something like that. I don't know. I'm like, no, where have I come? And then after like 1 week, we went out to a restaurant, and here came a kid that didn't know me, I didn't know him. He gave me a very strong hug. Like the kid just came. The kid had come with his family for lunch there at the restaurant. So the kid came to me and gave me a hug, and he was around me. He wanted to be with me and what. He was like around between 8 to 9 years. And I'm like, wow. Okay. So that's when everything started to change my perspective about Vietnamese people. So I started being inquisitive, asking them, why are you like this? Why do you sometimes look at black people? And the other bad experiences that sometimes some black people get in Vietnam is like when you walk through the market, when you enter a bus and everyone has to look at you and they have to speak Vietnamese. But if they identify that you can speak Vietnamese, of course they are going to ask you questions. They're going to talk to you. They're not going to run away from you. They're not going to push themselves away from you. So that's about Vietnam. At least for these 3 countries that I've traveled to, I wanted to talk about those 3 countries particularly because they're big destinations for foreigners. Vietnam is number 1. And of course, I don't hate any of the countries mentioned in this video. I was just giving out my opinion. Thank you for watching this video. like it please and leave a comment. My name is Shammah Benefits. See you in the next video.